Hey, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. It's Dave. I'm glad you're here. I have something new for 2025 that I want to put in front of you. An opportunity for you to get your voice on the podcast in a very unique way. Something that I've never done on the show. With 500 episodes plus we've done in the last 3 years. And this is something new that I want to put out there to you as an author, as a writer, as a storyteller, to get your voice in front of others, to get feedback, to get your words out there beyond the paper. So here's the idea, okay? Living the Next Chapter, we have a global audience. We have listeners in every continent around the world listening to the show. And I'm picturing you as an author, diligently writing and sharing your thoughts and writing your words on paper or on your computer, and then wondering if anybody really would read this, or would anybody really like to see what you're doing. So here's an idea. Originally, I thought about this for poetry, because a lot of the authors I talked to started with poetry. And maybe you're a young author, a new author, and you're starting in writing some poetry, and you're like, is this even any good? But I'd like to get it out there. I'd like people to hear my words. So on Living the Next Chapter, what we're going to be doing starting in January of 2025 is accepting from you your poetry, a portion of your book, a chapter, or a few paragraphs from what you're writing that you'd like to share with us that we could put on the show. We'll give you full credit. We'll send everybody to your links wherever you are, social media, if you have a website, where people can connect with you and give you feedback on what you're writing. There are so many amazing authors that listen to the show, great resources. You might be surprised at who is listening to your words on the show. You really, the beautiful thing about podcasting, you don't know who's going to press play. So there could be some literary agent or some publisher or somebody that presses play on your episode where you share a little of your writing and what you're working on to the world, and they might go, oh my gosh, had it not been for this podcast, I would never know of you, and now I have a contact information, I can reach out to you. Or there might be another author who writes like you write. Maybe they're more seasoned, maybe they're further down the path than you are, and they could give you some great constructive feedback to make your writing better. Would that be a helpful service for you? Now, I have more interviews than I can release at this point, but I want to carve out time for you. So I'm putting this out there. livingthenextchapter.com is my website. It's the name of the show. .com is my website for this podcast. On my website, there's a SpeakPipe link. Now, what is SpeakPipe? It is a way for you to leave a voice message up to 5 minutes per message. So if you need more than 5 minutes, then just use it over and over again. And it'll come to me in an email, your voice attached to an email, reading to me a portion of what you're writing, or your poem, or whatever. And what I'm going to do is create a mini episode for you, put it out in the world so that others can hear what you're working on. I'll make as many episodes as people send me. No limit. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm not charging anything for this. I will make an episode about you with all of your contact information, and then share the clip of your story, your poem, what you're working on. And as long as you're not reading me War and Peace, that's a long episode, I will be happy to do this for you. You can also just email me the audio link if you've already pre-recorded it. That's another option. Another option, simply email me the content, the words. And what I'll do is put it into a voice generator and have a voice read it back to the audience for you. If leaving an audio message is inconvenient or you're a little nervous about doing that, then send me the words and put it in the title. Something along the lines of featured content for Living the Next Chapter. Something like that. So that it stands out for me that this is something different than all the interviews that I'm doing. And what I'll do is do something similar to what I'm going to play for you right now. I went and grabbed a public domain poem, and I took the words, put it through my voice generator, and the voice read the poem back to me. And to you, and I'm going to put a clip of it here into the podcast so you can hear what I'm talking about. This is just an example of what we could do for you. So here's a small sample. And again, the reason why I'm doing this is I want you to have an avenue, an outlet to share your voice on a podcast as you're beginning the journey of writing. And now, this could be a little unnerving because you're going to push your words out into the public, but I can tell you one thing, the Living the Next Chapter family that listens to this podcast, a group of people that are authors in all different stages of writing and readers who just love supporting authors, you're in the right space. You're going to get great feedback, great responses. So make sure that I also have where you're most active on social media. So if that's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, I need a link so that I can connect you with the person that's listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to talk to this new author. Then I need some way to make that connection happen. So please give me that information, a website, whatever, when you give me your details so that I can promote you. Okay? So here's an example. This is a public domain poem that I'm going to put in here. This would be similar to what's going to happen when you respond to this request to be featured on Living the Next Chapter. So here you go. Here's a little clip. And this is what I'd like to do for you for free here on Living the Next Chapter. Let's get your voice out there in front of a great audience that would love to support you in your journey of writing. So here you go. Here's a public domain poem and a great example of what I can do for you here on Living the Next Chapter. Thanks for listening.
Songs for the People. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Let me make the songs for the people. Songs for the old and young. Songs to stir like a battle cry wherever they are sung. Not for the clashing of sabers, for carnage nor for strife, but songs to thrill the hearts of men with more abundant life. Let me make the songs for the weary, amid life's fever and fret, till hearts feel relax their tension, and careworn brows forget. Let me sing for little children, before their footsteps stray, sweet anthems of love and duty, to float o'er life's highway. I would sing for the poor and aged, when shadows dim their sight, of the bright and restful mansions, where there shall be no night. Our world, so worn and weary, needs music, pure and strong, to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grown tender girdle the world with peace.
So there you go. There's an example. That's again a public domain poem that I've been able to pull in. That's what I'll do. I'll take your words. If you don't want to leave a voice message, completely fine. But it's there as an option, livingthenextchapter.com. SpeakPipe link. Record your own words, 5-minute intervals. If you need more times, use it multiple times. And then I'll bring it together and make an episode like this just about you and about your book, about your writing, about your poetry, whatever serves you. I just want to encourage you as an author that we need your voice out there. There is a sea of books. There are a sea of podcasts. There is a sea of content. And sometimes it's overwhelming to think, like, who's ever going to read my words? Who's ever going to want to hear from me? Who's ever going to open a book that I produce? Well, maybe this is the first step, is getting your voice out there by sharing your poetry, sharing a portion of your book, a few paragraphs, telling us about what you're working on so that we can promote you in real time and then have you come on the show in the future as a guest to celebrate the launch of your book so that we can tell everybody. Living the Next Chapter is all about making great connections between readers and authors, as well as supporting authors, your fellow authors in the process. In the process of writing the book, you're going to become a different person. All 500 plus episodes, when I've sat down with my amazing guest authors, they have told me that writing their book has made them a different person. They found strength and confidence and skills and abilities they didn't know they had just by the process of writing. They have become a different person. So as you're starting your journey as an author, you are going to be completely different when that book is in your hand than you are today. you're going to grow, you're going to change, and you're going to build community around yourself in the process. That's what we do here on Living the Next Chapter. Building community, one-on-one, every interview, every interaction, to bring out a community of authors and support for you. You're not writing alone. You're writing in community through listening to the show, listening to the authors that come on the podcast. We're learning together in community. One of the things I do with all of my guests in our pre-interview chats is I explain to them who you are as a listener. That we have listeners of this show who are authors. They're new to the journey of writing. They maybe have a few words on the page or staring at a blank piece of paper. And they're like, I just have this dream that one day I'm going to be an author. So I always ask all of my guests that we're going to start the conversation addressing the authors listening to the show. And what is the one thing you've learned now that you have published a book that we can share with a listener like you who is just beginning the process of writing? So you can learn from a fellow author and learn from their story. That's how we start every conversation, because I want to encourage you through my guests that you can do this thing that's in front of you. And that's how we do this. And then for the readers that listen to the show, you may never write a book. That may never be your goal in life, but you're looking to fall in love with an amazing author. And when you see a book on a website or a store shelf, you're like, wait a minute, I remember hearing an interview with this author, and I have a connection with this author, and I want to support them in community as a reader. One of the biggest things, again, that I always recommend to my listeners, especially to the readers supporting authors, is to leave a detailed review every time you buy a book from an amazing author. Why? Because they're looking at those reviews, and it also helps more people find their books, helps others make buying decisions whether or not this book is right for them. So beyond leaving a review that says, great author, great book, give some specifics. Give some things that really help give clarity to a potential reader making a decision like you did about a book that you purchased. Your words can help lead them to making that decision in support of these amazing authors. That is our duty as readers, to give back to these amazing authors by leaving detailed reviews. So whether you're an author listening to the show, thank you for listening. If you're a reader listening to the show, thank you for listening. And if you're writing something and you just want to get it out there in front of people, try sending it in to Living the Next Chapter. I want to promote you in 2025. And I'll make as many episodes as the content comes in. So if you have a poem you want to share, maybe you wrote this poem years ago, like 20 years ago, and you're like dusting off that book and you pull it out, let's share it. Your words need to go out there into the world. And podcasting is one of the best ways for people to find you, hear your voice, and come and support you as an author. LivingTheNextChapter.com. Love to hear from you. If you have any questions, reach out to me. There's even a booking link right on my calendar. You can talk to me anytime. Whether you're a listener or you want to be a guest, you're an author, it's right there on the website. Let's get together and chat. I'd love to talk to anyone who listens to this show or anyone that's found this show. Being here and supporting you as a listener through Living the Next Chapter brings me a lot of joy. And to see these amazing authors from around the world coming on here, we have more great episodes coming in 2025, a lot of great stuff happening in the future. And you being here just makes this all worthwhile. So thank you for pressing play. Thank you for listening this far through LivingTheNextChapter.com. And if you're an author, this is your year. I want to hear your voice. I want to share your stories. Even if you're just beginning, let's start and start in the right way in 2025. This is the year where you're going to be a published author. This is the year when you're going to celebrate holding a book in your hand for the first time. And if we can be a little part of that at Living the Next Chapter, that brings us so much joy. Thanks for listening to the show. Thank you for your support. Love doing this for you. Thank you for 500 episodes. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing the show. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, do all those things so that every time a new episode comes out, you already know. And let's talk soon through LivingTheNextChapter.com. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Happy 2025. Wow, it's coming. We're looking forward to the next 500 episodes of Living the Next Chapter. Hey, it's going to be a great year. Can't wait to have you a part of the family over at livingthenextchapter.com. Thanks for listening.